Why people who prefer being alone often had this childhood, hidden psychology truth. Watch what happens the next time you close a door. Your hand turns the knob slightly before it clicks. The sound never comes. You don't even notice anymore. Psychology has a name for this and several other normal habits that turn out to be signs of childhood neglect. New research published this year suggests roughly 1 in 3 adults is carrying these patterns without knowing. That's where we're going today. Vignetta Mira. Meet Mira. She's 31, a marketing manager in Brooklyn. Lives alone in a 1-bedroom apartment with 3 throw blankets. She cooks late. When the microwave is about to beep, her hand reaches over and stops it half a second before the sound. The kitchen stays silent. She does this on autopilot. She doesn't remember learning it. Outside, it looks like nothing. A small kindness to her neighbors. Maybe. Inside, it's threat detection. Her nervous system learned by age 5 that sound brought trouble. And ever since, her hand has been ahead of the appliance. Mira's mother never yelled. She sighed. The sighs were worse. A quick note. Mira is a composite names, and details have been changed. She's drawn from common patterns I've encountered. The mechanism is the point. Not any one person. Vignetta 2, the door. You probably did this yourself last night. Closed a door without letting it click. Maybe it was the bedroom while a partner slept. Maybe nobody else was home and you did it anyway. Outside, it looks like consideration. Inside, it's an old contract a small child once signed with the heir in their house. Stay quiet. Stay small. You'll be safer that way. Vignette 3 Iris. Meet Iris. She's 28, works the night shift in an ICU. 12-hour shifts. Her younger brother calls her 3 times a week. She calls him Zero. A patient's family thanks her, asks if she's okay. The words "I'm fine" are out of her mouth before the question finishes. Then she walks to the supply closet and cries for 90 seconds, exact, before her next round. From the outside, composure. From the inside, it's older than the uniform she's wearing. Iris grew up the oldest of 3. Her mother had postpartum depression nobody named. By age 7, Iris was making breakfast. "I'm fine" was true the way a clean uniform is true because somebody scrubbed it. Vignette 4, the room. And maybe you know this one. You walk into a room and within 60 seconds you've clocked every mood in it. Whose shoulders are tight? Who's avoiding whose eye? You're not curious. You're checking exits. Outside, it looks like social intelligence. Inside, it's a 6-year-old's threat radar still online, decades after the threat left the building. 4 habits, 4 doors. They look like 4 different personalities, careful, capable, observant, composed. But the door behind each one opens into the same room. Here's what's in that room. And here's why almost no video in this niche names it accurately. Before we go further, something has to be said. If you're recognizing yourself in these habits, I want to be clear about one thing. Nothing in this video is a diagnosis. It is not a substitute for therapy. The patterns described don't apply to everyone, and the line between adaptation and pathology is one only a licensed professional can draw with you. Stay with me, but stay grounded. In 1975, a developmental psychologist named Edward Tronick presented something at a research conference in Denver that's now one of the most replicated findings in his field. The setup was simple. He sat a mother in front of her infant. The mother smiled, made eye contact, played with the baby. Then, on cue, she went blank. No expression. 3 minutes. That's it. What the infant did next is what we need. First, the baby tried harder. Bigger smiles. More sounds. Pointing. When that didn't work, distress. Crying. Reaching. And then, after about 3 minutes of nothing coming back, the baby withdrew. Turned away. Went quiet. Tronick described the look on the baby's face as hopeless. 3 minutes. Here's the part that changed the field. When researchers brought the same babies back 2 weeks later, their bodies remembered. The physiological distress response showed up immediately on the second exposure, a response that hadn't been there at all on the first. The body had filed something. Now, multiply that by a childhood. Multiply 3 minutes once by evenings every week for 15 years. What the body files isn't a memory you can retrieve. It's a setting. There's a related finding from the University of Wisconsin, not Toronto. You'll see this attribution mistake a lot in this niche by a psychologist named Seth Pollak. He measured brain activity in children who'd grown up in homes where adult anger was a frequent and unpredictable presence. The result was specific. Their brains weren't more reactive to all faces, just to angry ones. Their threat detection system had been recalibrated by middle childhood to find anger faster than a control group of children whose homes were calmer. That's what you're doing when you scan a room in 60 seconds and leave. You're not scanning the room. You're scanning for an anger that left the house 30 years ago. The British attachment theorist John Bowlby had a phrase for what happens after enough of those moments. He called it compulsive self-reliance. Not normal self-reliance. The compulsive kind. The kind that won't let someone help with the heavy box. The kind that researched the bug for 3 nights instead of escalating day 1. The kind that built a fortress and then forgot it was a fortress. It looks from outside like strength. From inside, it's a child's decision made too young to remember. The decision was simple. Reaching out was a worse bet than staying alone. And there's a third name worth knowing. Marsha Linehan, the psychologist who developed dialectical behavior therapy. One of the major treatments for emotion regulation describes something called the invalidating environment. A home where a child's feelings are met not with cruelty, but with a message. You're wrong. You're too much. That didn't happen. That's not what you feel. Linehan's claim is that children raised in those environments grow into adults who invalidate themselves. The self-doubt isn't a personality trait. It's an internal voice that started as someone else's. A brief note before we continue. This isn't a substitute for therapy. If any of this is sitting heavier than expected, please reach out to a licensed professional. In the U.S., you can text or call 988. Outside the U.S., findahelpline.com lists options in most countries. Now, and I'll say this carefully, some of you watching are angry. And honestly, you should be. A meta-analysis published this year in BMJ Open, 20,000 children, peer-reviewed, found that childhood verbal abuse leaves a mark on adult mental health comparable to being hit. The same study found something else. Almost in passing, verbal abuse has been rising for decades. Physical abuse has been falling. A generation of parents quietly traded one for the other. And the trade is showing up in normal, ordinary adult habits. No one connects back to it. Here's where this turns. Anger is not the destination. Linehan called the destination radical acceptance, not approval of what happened, not resignation, but the willingness to see what was true without rewriting it. There's a related body of work worth knowing. Kristen Neff at the University of Texas has spent 20 years studying something called self-compassion, and the broader research on self-compassion suggests something that matters here. Compulsive apologizing tends to be driven by shame, not guilt, which is why willpower alone doesn't shift it. Guilt says I did something bad. Shame says I am something bad. Self-compassion targets shame specifically, and Neff's most cited work shows it works in ways self-esteem can't. The Mira in your kitchen, the Iris at your nursing station, the version of you that closes the door silently, none of them are bad. They were competent, they were kind, they were tired, and they were never broken to begin with. So here's what to do tonight. Notice the next time you apologize, just one apology anywhere, any context, and ask one question. Did I cause harm, or was I just present? If you caused harm, an apology was the right move. If you were just present taking up air, asking a small question, existing in a room, the apology came from somewhere older than the moment. You don't have to stop apologizing right away. Just start noticing where the apology came from. That's the entire exercise. That noticing is what changes the pattern, not the willpower to stop. The accuracy of the question. One last thing. None of these habits make you broken. They make you adapted. Your nervous system did exactly what it was supposed to do with what it was given. The work isn't to feel bad about that. The work is to notice what you no longer need. If you'd like more videos that hand you a question, you can use not just a mirror that tells you you've been seen. Subscribe. That's the whole reason this channel exists. In the comments, tell me which habit hit hardest. The microwave, the door, the I'm fine, or the room reader. Just one word is enough. I go through every single reply.